Hello everyone, welcome back, and let me introduce you to somebody. This is Brock, and like you probably read in the title, Brock is no ordinary human. First of all, he has 1.1 billion health, but that's not even what we're here to talk about. Brock has been blessed with the gift of kids. I guess it depends on your definition of a blessing, but as you can see here, he can have 1 billion kids. And more than just that, he also has a 1 billion birth rate too, meaning that this dude literally every second of the day is just churning out kids. However, his kids are unfortunately born with 2 negative traits. The first obviously being infertile, and the second one being ugly. I kind of just wanted to throw that one in for fun. But with this, that means the only person who will be able to reproduce in the entire world is Brock. But you also might be wondering, if Brock is going to have so many kids, then why is he sitting here all alone in his little jungle? Well, it's actually because Brock does not need no woman in his life. He reproduces via spores, meaning that this man is going to populate this entire world literally single-handedly. Nice. The only traits he has been given is fertile, lustful, and immortal. Realistically speaking, there's nothing special about him other than, you know, like obvious factors like right here. And we are going to be following Brock as he repopulates this massive world for 1,000 years. This is probably going to be one of the more interesting videos I've ever made. So let us begin. And also, if you're wondering how I actually gave this dude the ability to have 1 billion kids, it's thanks to the sandbox mod, which I covered in a previous video, so you should go check that out. But Brock begins running around and eventually forms his own kingdom. And it's not long before a mini Brock just gets shot out of him. This time in a female version named Mayna. And wait, hold up. Uh-oh. The infertile trait gives minus 100,000 offspring. But since I gave his subspecies 1 billion offspring, that means she can still have kids. I don't think the creator of worldbox ever intended for someone to have more than 100,000 kids, but I need to fix this real quick. And boom, fixed. No more children for you, Mayna. But Brock has just begun his journey. And Brock has another kid. But you know, I just realized that if I individually tell you about every single kid he has, then this video will genuinely never end. That's because right now, we're not even 1% of the way done. So how about we give Brock and his new family that's also him, like identically, but also not somehow because they're girls, a little time to grow and expand. So we are going to sim 250 years ahead to 1/4 of our goal, which will be year 1250. Yeah, I started at year 1000 because screw you, man. I can do what I want. And here we are at year 1250. This dude's been busy at work. He has had 95 kids, some of whom have even joined the army. As a matter of fact, right now you can actually see a kid on his back, a little king being grown out of him. By the way, I didn't mention this, but I had to switch to budding reproduction because it's actually the quickest, I believe. But if anyone else has any info on how to make births faster, just let me know. If we look at his genealogy here, it's just children. So many of them. We can click plus, and they just keep flooding down. There's so many of them. I actually like how on the top you can obviously see the older ones here with their white hair and such. Then you can see all the more middle-aged blonde ones here, the grown-ups, and then you can just see all the little toddlers. And they all have extremely high amounts of health too. Brock's fertility craze has also led to his kingdom having 2 separate villages now, which, you know, could actually lead to a legitimate war later on. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, it probably really isn't a very good life to just be, you know, like walking around minding your business and then a kid just grows out of your back and lands on the ground. And then he just starts walking and going about his business. You know, interestingly, it says that the sapient population is 102, but our population is only 96. But I think boats are what's counting for that, which actually implies that boats in this game are sentient creatures. It's probably just best not to worry about it. But, you know, Brock is pretty busy. We really need to get him to work. So we should probably give him some more time to, you know, do what he does. But before we do that, let's look at interesting people. Somehow, the most known is Mayna, the very first kid of Brock, which I'm not even sure how that's possible because this dude is literally the dad of every everyone here. He literally has 0 renown. What is this? How? He's the dad of everyone. He literally has a kid on his back right now. You're telling me you're gonna walk down the street and see a dude with a kid growing out of his back, and you're not gonna like spread the word or anything? But at least he seems to be the happiest. Brock is unfortunately not the smartest. That goes to a B. He's also not the dumbest, which also goes to a B. Is he the strongest? No, that also goes to a B. Well, if he's not the strongest, then maybe he's the weak. No, also a B. But at least he has the most health, right? Totally. Yeah, okay. He does have that one with a very big number. But then who has the least? Bs. Bs have the least health too. I don't know if you guys have noticed in this update, but whenever I played, it's Bs everywhere. Why? Why are there so many Bs? I still to this day don't understand why there are so many Bs in this update. Also, not to mention, I turned mob spawns off. I don't know how they're here, but whatever. We're not here to talk about Bs. We're here to talk about Brock. So we're gonna give him 250 more years to expand and develop. So I'll see you guys a year 1500. Nice. Well, here we are at year 1500, and Brock has managed to have 241 kids. God, I imagine Christmas and birthdays are going to be absolutely terrible. Literally, there's like a 66% chance that on any given day he has to worry about one of his kids' birthdays. And as we speak, he still has a little guy growing out of him as well. Interestingly, he has developed the evil trait on his own. I mean, no surprise there really at all. Interestingly, he actually has a best friend named Gabonino, who I guess his dad is Brock, and he has 240 siblings. Look at this. God, this must be a nightmare. Obviously, you have the old unks here in the top, like Mena, who's pushing 500. And then you scroll down. We have Bebis, who's just 2. Imagine your older sister is 496 years older than you. That would definitely make for some interesting dinner time talk. Interestingly, the kingdom dynamics look nearly the same, except for this village down here has 6 people, while this one now has 236. And 115 soldiers. I'm not quite sure why you even need an army, because if any war does break out, everyone fighting will literally be brothers and sisters. Also, not to mention, they all have like 11 million health too. Like the fight would never end. But obviously, other than the expected population increase, there really isn't much else to talk about right here. So before we head to year 750, we're gonna check interesting people real quick. The most known is still Mena. Brock is apparently a nobody in eyes of this game somehow. You know, luckily as characters age up like Brock, their stats do increase. So nice. Brock has quite a bit of intelligence now, so maybe he could be on the board. No, it's still a B. But so is the dumbest. And the strongest, and the weakest. But at least Brock is here with his bajillion amounts of health. Look at that, oh, he is and the least health is also Bs too. Moral of the story so far, Bs are better than humans. But anyway, let's sim one more time to year 750, where I have a very spicy idea in mind that should ramp this video up significantly before we get to year 1000. And as we approach 1750, Brocktopia has a perfectly balanced 333 people. God, this guy's busy. And to believe it or not, this entire video, not one of them have died. The only reason I really did that is because when a character dies, it actually takes them off the children list here, which, you know, makes the number look not as cool, and then it's kind of lame and stuff. But actually, now that I'm looking at it, he has 332 kids. But 392 births, so 60 of his kids at some point have died, which shouldn't be possible. Let me explain why. First off, they have 5 million health. They're not going anywhere. On top of that, they also have a 1 billion year lifespan, and they don't even have hunger. There is literally nothing possible in the world that could kill them. Even if I dropped a SAR bomba on every single person here, they would be fine. But before I show you this grand idea I had in mind, let's check interesting people one more time. Okay, yep, shocker, Brock's not the most known. Still has 0 renown. You know, let's just get through all the stuff you expect. Oh yeah, smartest, dumbest, Bs. Strongest, Beast. Most health, Brock. Yay, woo, awesome. Yay, least health, Beast. Alright, now that we speed ran that, let me tell you my idea. The population has been growing steadily but slowly. If we really wanted to see this number get to some exorbitant amount, it would take a long time, that's just the truth. But with one simple press of a button over here in the birth editor, we can remove infertile from all babies. We'll keep ugly because, you know, it's kind of funny. But by doing that, all current kids still can't have any other kids. But any new kids, like this guy on the back of Brock right here, will be able to have kids. Meaning that after Brock has just a couple of more kids, the population of this world is going to explode. Because it'll be exponential at that point. I wouldn't be shocked by year 1000 if we have several thousand people in the world. This is going to be a really exciting time lapse. We saw what Brock can do on his own, but what can happen when his kids get involved too? Let's find out, and I will see you guys at the final goal, year 2000, 1000 years since we began. Well, I was not expecting that. Our kingdom has literally taken up maybe half the world in total landmass and has 3,600 people. How is that even possible? Brock himself has actually lost children. Granted, he does have a lot more births now, so it seems like somehow a bunch of them have just perished. It looks clearly that the kids he had more kids, and then they had kids, and you get the idea, so on and so forth. To the point where now we have thousands of little clones and clones of Brock. That must be pretty difficult for him, I imagine. Dude is 1,000 years old. He's getting pretty sick of this. Let's look at his happiness numbers. Yeah, that sounds about right. Had a child, you know, they died. Had a child, they died. Had a child, they died. Had a child, they died. And then he found a new home. But Brock is still an absolute legend. Actually, you know, he's pretty smart now. You know what? The last thing we're gonna do is check interesting people. Nope. The smartest is a 1,000-year-old bee. The only thing Brock has to his name is his wicked sick health. Look at that. Oh, nice. Awesome. And if you've made it this far in the video, clearly you've enjoyed something about it. So go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, that's pretty much all we have for today. I will see you guys in the next one. Farewell.